So this year I took photography as a class and I really liked it. We learned how to use a 35mm camera and to develop the film for it and make our own pictures. And so I thought I would share that with you today. Well, it's not like a life skill that's essential to life. I just think it's a very interesting way to produce an image. You can make some pretty cool stuff when you learn how to develop your own film. It's just a lot of pride going into it because you take the time and the effort to make your own film and then develop it. In my experience, I've had 7 years of kind of just photography and taking pictures. It's something that I always really enjoyed. And I took photography last semester for the entire semester. We spent about 6 weeks going out taking pictures and then developing our own film and producing images from that. So these are just a couple of samples of what you can do once you learn how to develop your film. So what you're going to need is your roll of film, undeveloped, okay? And then you'll have a spool, and this is what the spool goes onto when it goes into the canister, and this is the lid for that. And the most important thing is you want to have this all laid out in order so that you know where everything is, because you're going to end up doing this in the dark. So when you do it right, you'll get something like this, and these have green stickies on them, and you can just pass them around if you want. And if you do it incorrectly, these have red on them, they don't turn out quite right. They're a little bit dark when you hold them up to the light, and so this one right here was actually a good one as well. So you can pass those around if you'd like. So the first thing is loading the film. When you load your film, you're going to take it out of its holder, which can sometimes be difficult. You'll pull it out like this, okay, and it'll unravel a little bit. This one's not as long, so it won't unravel all the way. And you want to be careful not to touch the middle of it, but you kind of unravel it and hold it from the side like that. And then you'll take your scissors and actually hold it up here and then cut it as close to the roll as you can. And you actually don't want to do what I just did, because you'll do it in the dark and then you won't be able to see where your film just landed, and oftentimes you'll end up searching the floor, where did my film go? Oh no, nobody moved, don't step on it, which actually happened a lot. So once you have that, you'll take it and hold it by the sides again, and you'll load it onto the spool. There's this flat side right here, okay, and you'll take the film and you can touch right there because that will be exposed already. And you'll just turn it like this until all of the film is on the spool. Now usually it takes a lot longer than that because you'll have a longer strip of film, but I've used a shorter one. And then you'll put it on here, just like that. Usually there will be two because you'll have a partner and do that together. And then you just stick it in the canister and put the lid on it. And you want to make sure that it's closed the right way and it's tight. So that is the first step, and now that you have your film in the canister, you'll move on to adding the chemicals. So what you'll do when you add chemicals is you just take off the red part, and at this point you can actually turn the lights on so that you can see what you're doing with chemicals, so that you don't get them on your clothes or anywhere else but where they're supposed to be, and you'll do this over the sink. So the first chemical that you'll put in is the developer, and then you'll use fixer, and then you'll use, you'll use developer, fixer, and then stop bath. So the first chemical you'll use is developer, and when you pour it in, you want to hold it sideways like this and pour the developer into the canister. Once you have it all in, you'll put the lid on, just like this, and then you'll develop for 8 minutes, kind of going like this, about every 30 seconds and tapping it for 8 minutes. And once you're done with that, in the last 15 seconds, you'll take the lid off and pour the chemicals into the sink, and then you'll add your stop bath, and you will also agitate it, which is doing this, and you'll agitate it for 30 seconds, and then you just let it sit for 30 seconds. After that, you'll again take the lid off, dump out that chemical, put in the fixer, which makes sure that the image stays on the film. You'll pour that in, and then you'll have it in there for 6 minutes, agitating it every 30 seconds. And once you're done with that, you can take the lid off and you'll just pour it out. After that, you only have a couple more things left to do, and this is the last step. You'll take the lid off, take everything out, okay, and you have the spool like this, and there's a sort of tube-like thing that we put all of the spools in when we develop together, and it sits there, and then water flows up through it and kind of rinses out all of the film to make sure all the chemicals are gone. And usually we do that for about 10 minutes, and then once we're done, we take all of the spools out and we break them apart, which can sometimes be a little bit difficult. And once you have your film, you will take a little squeegee and kind of, it looks like this, and then you'll run through the film like that, and then you hang it up to dry, and that's it. So it's kind of complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually very simple, and it's really fun. I really enjoyed it, and I wish I could have done it for a longer amount of time when I was in photography. So once you have this, if you do it correctly and you develop the image, you'll have a pretty clear picture, and you'll end up with something like this or like this. And if you don't do it correctly, it can sometimes turn out not as great, like this. And generally, if you do everything the way that I showed you, it should turn out just fine, and you can, again, take lots of cool pictures and put them onto your own photo paper. So we'll go back through the steps. The first thing you'll do is take it off of the spool, cut it, load it onto this spool, twisting it like this, and then take this, load it on here. Everything goes in the canister, and you'll go through pouring in all three chemicals: the developer, the stop bath, and the fixer. And once you're done with that, you'll take it out, rinse it, and then hang it to dry. So I hope you learned a little bit more about developing film and a little bit more about photography as well. Thank you.